so that you guys can have a different view. We are going to put batting and like as if I am starting a fresh brand new quilt. I was gonna prepare it and get it ready, but then I kind of ran up here a little late and I want to make sure that I'm here at 3 like I said. So if you are here and you could hear me, please comment. Let me know you're here. And then in a minute, I will plug in 2 other cameras. You smell really bad. Go outside. Go outside if you're gonna mess with it. Sugar, no. So right now you just saw the long arm the way it is. I'm going to plug in another camera and hello, Kevin. I need a piece of paper so I could write everybody's name down. So I could make sure that everybody is on my little notebook. Kevin W. Chambers is here, and Rhonda is here. Cooper. I'm gonna announce who wins this quilt on probably another live. So you're gonna have to message me on Messenger. Jody. Hi, Jody. From Seattle? Roundtree. I like your name. All right. Another Jody in a different way. Matthew. Okay, this is gonna be Velasquez. You. And Darlene. I know her name. Used to have a bestie named Darlene. She's not a bestie no more. Jessie Cook. Okay. Give me a second to kind of get another camera on here, and then we'll get the names again. Everybody who I have Darlene, Jody. Hello from Michigan. GR. I should have a friend here helping me. Lima. Okay, from Galen. I think I'm saying your name right. Lima. Everybody hold off. Okay, Rhonda. Give me a minute. Okay, Rhonda. Yeah, you. Okay. Nice to have you here. Let me get another camera. Matthew Velasquez. Okay, I got you. I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. I want to do a video on how to like streamline your setup for working, but I'm really excited for you. Seriously excited. Tina who? Tina, did I have you here? Tina. All right. Just make comments. Let me set up another camera and get my smelly dogs out of here. Oh my God, I don't know. One smells like a skunk. And then when that's going on, okay, I'm going to plug this camera in. We're going to really start this quilt from start to end. Hold on. Sorry, we're going to get up and personal. Good afternoon. You got one of your quilts from eBay. I'm really happy for you. They're beautiful, right? All right, hold on. I know she sells on eBay. I'm sorry I'm doing this. I usually do this before y'all are. It's not funny. She's like, she's so disorganized. I really am a little bit disorganized lately. But I'm excited to do this live with y'all. I already trimmed the tree quilt. Tammy, okay. I'm going to go, before we end this live, I'm going to go through every name, make sure I put you down. All right, I got her plugged in. Okay, so. No, sometimes when she sells a whole bunch of them, Kristen, she will refund you. Tammy, Thacker, gotcha. Kristen, and I think I got Rhonda Cooper here Sunday. Yeah, I already got you, Rhonda. Okay, I gotcha. Okay, I got some of you. Let me plug this in. And then, no, I was, I don't know what's wrong with me. There's days that I have the time of my life. Like, I have a lot of time, and I'll just procrastinate the hell out of it. And like today, when I knew that I had to get ready for a live stream, guess what I decided to do? I decided to laser something. And at the last minute, I was downstairs lasering, like, really? And I'm getting on my case because it's like, really? You're now? I remember, like, my mom's like, now? Now? Yeah, but now. And, yeah, I was lasering. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not in the mood for it sometimes. All right, so here's another camera. And I have a couple too. God, my dog smells so bad. Thank you for being here on this live. And then I'm going to bring this camera down. Come on. All right. So you can see what I'm doing here. Hold on. Sorry. Technical difficulties. I'm trying to. So yeah. Okay, I got her. Laura, new person. Laura? Laura? How do you say your name? Lori. Hellman Baker. Nice to have you here. Thank you for catching live. I also announced it on Lorena's Quilting Facebook group. It's hot here in South Carolina today. It's a great day to sew. I think I'm also going to bring you down to my house because I set up a couple featherweights and I want to sew some binding and stuff. And I was going to probably do a live on TikTok. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So here's the quilt. Let me see. Let me put this camera up so you can see me. Here's the quilt. Here's the batting. I got this at Marshall's Dry Goods. I kind of like this batting because it's not see-through. No, no, no. It's not for you to play with, little girl. No, no, no. Troublemaker. I was going to go. I trimmed the other quilt and I was getting ready to put the binding on. But I got distracted with my laser fiasco. I'm just like distracted, so it's okay. So here's the batting. This is from Marshall's Dry Goods. Some people ask me about this batting. It's really nice batting. Let me put. I already wound one bobbin while I was late to my own live stream. Who's late to their own live stream? Me. So here's the quilt. Dun, dun, dun. I want to get going so that you guys don't spend the rest of your life with me. It'd be nice, right? We have dinner and stuff, and husbands and members of the family that need us. Okay, so today's Wednesday. Oh, shoot. Sorry. I stepped on your quilt. I didn't mean to. Let me project out. Oh, yeah. See that? We're going to get our iron ready because I'm sure this quilt is going to be a little bit warped. The other one that I did that was like this was a little bit warped. But let's see. And I don't like, because I've hurt my back long arming. You can hurt your back long arming, by the way. It is. I rolled the quilt down before I based it. Oh, by the way, is my volume okay? Can you hear me well? Let me bring it out a little bit. Yeah. Better? A little bit better? All right. She's beautiful, right? So I'm going to baste her down. Or lock her down into the back fabric. I keep hearing that Katy Perry, you're gonna hear me roar, oh, 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 oh. Yeah, let me sing to y'all. Okay, I went and I saved the design. Come on, done already. Okay, I picked a color. It's not. Stop. Sometimes this machine starts thinking for me. Open. No. I put Livestream just when I saved it. Live. 2015. And I got the patterns that, no. I got the patterns that everybody was interested in quilting on here. So that's what you saw me do right now. I was on the computer just grabbing the designs. You want to go out, Mama? Come on, baby, baby, baby. My neighbor's cleaning his backyard, and it's nasty. Just, you know. I have already tied the thread that we're going to use on here. So it's going to travel through. Can I move you here somewhere? Move you a little bit so you can see better. And I'm going to move you so I can see you. Okay. We're going to work here. There's the needle. Come on. My son, we were, that little featherweight that I got, I was messing with the needle. And I was tired. You know when your contacts are like dry or than the desert? I was like, can you thread it for me? And then I didn't have scissors, so then you have that thread burr. It was just a lot. Let me see. Let me move your heels so you can see me better. Sorry, I try not to get my body in front of the camera, but you know, I can't help it. I have to. La 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 la. I was intending to have this done before we got here today. I think setup is the thing that takes the longest when you're working as a long armor. So you have to find ways to really streamline it, make it easier, or make it faster or efficient. That's the word. That's a better word, right? Efficient. When I first got my Gamel, it would take me like 2 hours to set up. And I would get so frustrated because in 30 minutes, it would quilt the little baby quilt that was taking 2 hours to set up. So, let's see, right here. I'm going to organize it. So we're going to nice and pull gently, Jenny. I'm in a weird mood, okay? So I hope you're okay with it. Which is a good thing when I'm in a weird mood. I'm a little bit probably more entertaining. Gently, Jenny. Forrest Gump. And then right now you're seeing me drench the heck out of this with stabilizer. You don't see nothing, I'm sorry. Bad videographer. So you see me drenching with stabilizer the quilt so that the starch, see that? I know we're gonna have problems. A little bit. Then I need an iron. I lost my clip yesterday. So you guys are going to see all of it because you're going to see me do a bobbin. Also, too, I wanted to share this every time. Oh, that's a good. Is that a good? I did already change the bobbin. Every time I start a new quilt, I use my Tova. I have a specific number, and it doesn't matter the number. So my number is 250. Can you see it? And right now, as I pull, it's like 200, so I need to tighten my bobbin. tensioner. Every thread has a little bit of a different, a little bit of a different thickness, maybe the dye. So my number is around 300 and 250. And you want that number to stay consistent as you pull. So just sharing. So this tension's a little bit tighter. And even though this is also thread from Joann's, it's a variegated thread from Joann's. From the other thread that I used yesterday, it's a little bit different. I'm gonna roll that. And we're gonna iron. So you're watching me literally set up the quilt like I would if you were my client. And I remember we were yesterday, some of this lady's seams, she doesn't iron from the top. She irons from the back of the quilt generally. So I'm making sure that on this quilt, everything's nice and flat. But on this quilt, I think she did iron from the top. Beautiful. And I want you to have the best, beautiful quilt I could ever quilt for you. Okay, so turn the water down. I'm gonna need to add steam to her. This quilt is gonna need about 4 or 5 bobbins, depending on how densely quilted we quilt her. So I tend to have all my bobbins wound before. And I ordered new bobbins from, we talked about bobbins one live stream. Bobbin case, bobbin, right? Not the bobbin case. Come on. Sorry if you don't see me. But what I'm doing is I'm winding a bobbin. All right. I'm gonna need 4 of them. I have 4 wound, and I have 1 in the bobbin. And then, let me see. I'm gonna move you, okay? Nice seeing you. Thank you for being here. I love you. Okay, so next we're gonna pick the design. You guys wanted bubble swirls, and I'm kind of gonna make my own decision. I feel like that beautiful feathering swirl, what is it called? Quail feathers would quilt more beautifully on this. And so I'm gonna overthrow y'all. Okay, I'm sorry. I know I said this is your choice, but I think it would fit more beautifully on the quilt. So I was thinking about it last night. I was like, you know, would bubbles really go? Because it's bubbles and circles and swirls. Would it really look beautiful on? And it will look beautiful, but I think the other design would look better. Okay. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm gonna go over here to the computer and pick the design. And I already. Then I'm gonna measure. So it's, remember the other day I said that the back fabric, I didn't roll it right because I rolled it so fast. So sometimes I'll unroll the quilt, like you saw me there. I will pull the back fabric the way I should have been pulling it when I put it on yesterday, but I thought I'd have time to fix this. And then it will tighten. If the back fabric's good, it will tighten the back fabric the way it needs to be tightened. See, now it's not. You don't want it to, what is the word? Sag? Sag. So that's what I'm doing there. And then I'm going to measure right now the quilt so we can start quilting, okay? So, and then I can start writing your names. I can welcome you. I can say hello. I can say I appreciate you for being here. Boom. Boom. I also need to do something on YouTube real quick while you're here with me. It is 89. While the computer's setting up, let me do something real quick. Come on. Trying to get this computer to turn on, and then I'm gonna go back. It says edit. It says I'm live streaming. Come on. Come on. Sorry. Trying to get my computer to work here. You need to work. So I'm gonna start it. All right, let me see who's here. All right, how are you? I'm hugging my camera. I sound good, thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending time. Okay, Rhonda, just make sure. Okay, I got you down. Thank you, Tina. Okay, thank you for being here. Let me move the camera so you can see how beautiful she is. Then I need to go on my computer. Why is my... Okay, we're gonna start her. I already changed the thread. I'm already gonna change the... My dogs smell real bad, guys. Thank God there's no smell-o-vision here. 1, 2. I think my dogs have been playing with rats or something. One of them smells bad. So, what you're seeing me do is I'm aligning the... Hopefully you could see me a little bit. Okay, what you're seeing me do is aligning the machine and making sure that this back bar, this machine does not hit the back of the bar. And then also too, that it doesn't quilt beyond the quilt itself. And also I'm lowering the pickup bar because yesterday we were quilting a bigger quilt and I had to raise the pickup bar a bit. And then we're gonna start. Let's move her. Let's get her going. The start is setting in, that's good. Okay. She's gonna be beautiful, right? I think this is one of the most beautiful quilts that that lady has made. And then we're starting, guys. Look at that. In a minute, I'll bring you up so you could see the beautiful quilting. Let's move here. Manual. All right, we're ready to go. Okay, let's see. I got this camera over here. I'm gonna move you in a minute. Move you a minute. Tiger Lily, let me put your name in here. Nice to have you here, Tiger Lily. What a beautiful name. Nice to have you here. I know, that's beautiful. One of you guys is gonna get it, hopefully. My question is also too, what was I gonna ask? I was gonna wonder what kind of binding y'all want on it. So let me check the back of the, let me move this. Make it stand. I only have one other camera here. Maybe one camera would be better than the other cameras, even though sometimes I like the switching. I like it when I'm moving around, I could switch to another view so you're not stuck watching me doing something random. There you go. I'm going to bring you to this area so that you could behold that beautiful thread we picked. Let's see. Let me see, let me see, let me see. And this quilt, for some reason, is a bit linty. Hold on. Are you still there? Give me a second. Oh, no. That's not what I wanted. I'm going to move you in a minute, but I'm trying to... I set up so quickly that the cord is knotted. And, cord is knotted. And I want you to see the beautiful thread color. All right, let me move in front of you. Hi, how are you? Oh, dark binding. I think it would be like a dark, beautiful dark blue, right? Dark, 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 dark. Okay, so I'm gonna move you here. And I'm gonna show you why I picked this quill feathers. And I'm gonna bring you in, okay? So let's see. I don't know if you can see the beautiful coloring and the beautiful, like, oh, so sorry, not funny. So sorry. Like, what the hell's wrong with her? Okay, here we go. This is the quilting from those quill feathers. And that's why I decided to do this. I think it has more movement. It has more, I think it's a beautiful, what do you think about the quilting? Sorry, I'm sorry. I think I got a better design. Look, see? Isn't that beautiful? Can you see it? Does the camera show it? Maybe not. Ugh. This design, okay, so let me get you on the... Dun, 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 dun. I'm gonna lift you and move you, okay? Get ready. Let me show you the design so you can see it on the computer. And then let me move you down towards the quilting. And because I ironed her, hopefully you can see the beautiful thread. This thread has a little bit of yellow, green, pink, and it has that light blue. Hopefully you could see it through this camera. And then in a minute, I'm going to connect another camera so you could look at it. Trying to move slowly, okay guys? So I'm not jolting y'all. I think that would be annoying. All right. I just put on another camera and she's getting warmed up, I think, turning on. And I want you to see her in color. Now I'm going to have to watch her right here because you can see pleating. Yes, she makes beautiful quilts. Yes, you're so right. It's a beautiful... Let me move the camera so I'm in frame. Be nice, right? Yes, I think this is one of the most beautiful quilts she has. I need to put Valerie's name down. Hold on. Valerie. Can I ask you, Valerie, what your last name is? Joe Chambers. Some of you I know from the Block Swap. Block Swappers. Heather Miller. How are you doing, Heather? Thank you for being here. I'm putting your name down. I know I was partial to the rainbow too. But I'm letting you know that I'm probably going to do blocks, like a live stream of just a random quilt. And then the next stream, I will in that stream, I will announce we're going to do the black one and the rainbow one. So if you want, we were going to do those as a giveaway too. Our church. I'm writing everybody's name. So thank you for being here. Let me get out of the way so you could enjoy the eye candy. She's beautiful. And I think I got 3 cameras up. I'm going to get the last one going. And the reason I like having the amount of hammers I have is so that if one goes to crap, I have 3 more. So I'm adding another camera here. I'm sorry I started a couple minutes late. There she is. But yes, I'm letting you know I'm going to do more live streams where I give away a quilt. I bought a lot of these, so I don't want to keep them all. Deborah Laura, okay. Deborah. Let me write your name down. Deborah, if you want to be part of... Sorry, Roxy. Deborah. Whatever. I'm going to put everybody's name on. Thank you for watching. Sonora, Mexico. Montes. I don't know. ¿Puedo mandar? I don't know. Deborah from Montes, from Sonora, Mexico. Can I send you the quilt? Is it hard to send a quilt to Mexico? We'll see, okay? Because it'd be neat to know I have family. Brooke, what is your last name? You just commented. I need your last name so that if there's more than one Brooke, when I announce who won the quilt, I announce Brooke so-and-so. Okay, is that okay? Cindy. Spivey. This is the one. Okay. I need to tell this thing. It uses hand signals. Okay. And then it locks in the hand signal. I was going to study it today. Hold on. This quilt has a lot of lint on it. I think someone here, Brooke Miller. Okay, I gotcha. Miller. Did I already write you down? It has a lot of lint, guys. Someone here just bought their long arm. One of the things you're gonna need is a lint roller. Another thing you're gonna need is a Fawns and Porters, or I recommend a Fawns and Porters. So you're gonna need one of these Fawns and Porters measuring tape. And I think even if you're not a long armer, I recommend this beautiful measuring tape. The reason I love it is it retracts. Oh my God, I love it. It's Stevens, Valerie Stevens. Okay, I'll put you down, girl. All right, and just making sure so that when I'm telling or letting people know who won the quilt, okay, you're in Arizona. Okay, that's good to know. That's a blessing. I'm glad you guys like these. They're kind of stressful for me. But I think I'm getting better. Like right now, I have on camera that's giving me a hard time, but I could switch cameras now, and you guys could see different viewpoints. And then also too, right now I have a camera that I can move, and while I'm sharing that viewpoint, I can move this camera to where or I could bring it closer so you could see better detail. I can move you there, and y'all can see the quilt while it's quilting. And let me just say this quilting design is beautiful. I promise I'm not cheating you by making my own decision. Right now what I'm doing is I'm filling water into my iron, because one whole full iron I go through a quilt, the water, and then I'm gonna get another bobbin ready so that I could have maybe 5 or 6 rounds. And then let me see if I can wind that one for me. I set up downstairs where I used to have the garage, a little sewing area, a little sew nook for myself. And I'm moving the you back a bit so that you could, when I start moving the quilt, I'm not in your way. I think I'm kind of getting a little hold of this. You're Valerie of Oklahoma. Thank you for being here, seriously, all of you. I really do appreciate you taking time of your life. Time from your day, time from your life, so that you could spend it with me. I think time is precious, and time is very valuable to me. So there you see 4 cameras, guys. Look at her. I'm getting it. You're from Canada? Okay. Yes, that'd be okay. I'll pay for half. How about we go half? There's a Deborah Jarvis. Man, I love her. She did the block swap. She's from Canada. She was so sweet. Anyway, she was so sweet. Let me write your name, Ginger, down. Nice to have you here. She was so sweet. She went ahead and she just blessed me. Ginger. Wow, you have a different name. Ginger. Look how I look. Let me show you how I look. I got him on. Nykaza. You're folding clothing while you're watching me. The other day, what was I doing? I sometimes rewatch my live stream because I want to see how stupid it looks and disorganized because, you know, well, it's just, and I want to see, like, one video that I did a live stream, the volume was really bad, and I had to, like, when you do a live stream and it's loaded, like, there's no changing, fixing, cutting, unless you go through the YouTube program, and then the YouTube program literally cuts whatever you want to cut out, and it makes a whole new video, brand new video. And it takes like 4 hours for it to transition to that new video. Yeah, they're Dollar Tree glasses, readers. And and I was watching it in like 11 minutes. You could barely hear my voice. Barely, like a whisper. And so it's learning, man. I make a lot of mistakes trying to figure stuff out because to be honest, I think some of this live streaming stuff is gate kept. And then I bought the YOLO switcher because I wanted to do multi cameras. And then in the switcher, they don't really tell you like what cameras to use, what works great with the camera. They don't tell you nothing. You're like in the dark. So I'm going to move you here so you can see how the quilt looks. I'm going to bring you back a little bit. I want you to see, like, well, how about I bring you forward? And you can see the puddling. Lazy Daisy. I'm going to put your name down, girl. Lazy Daisy. So I'm re-wetting her. And then while I'm doing that, I'm going to reset the machine, the long arm, the gamel. Nope. And so I do not use the gamel system of how they roll. You find placement or you find the plotting on row by row. I literally, since I've been doing this so long, I do it manually because I feel like it saves me personally more time. But when I first got my machine, that is the only way I survived, having figured out, sorry, let me get out of the way. That's the only way I survived this. Do you see how I'm stretching her? Please stay in place. And then I'm going to go ahead and set the fabric by ironing it. Now, the way I iron is I always iron in the direction of the bias. Hopefully it doesn't change. Sometimes, is it changing? Yes, it is. Evil camera. Evil. Okay. We talked about this cordless iron. Oh, it's not that hot. I need to really heat it. You want it really hot. You want it really full of water. Let me give it a minute. While it's doing that, I will go ahead and sew the edges down. I'm going to turn you so you can watch me. I'm going to sew this edge down. and pull the back fabric. The quilt, wow. The back fabric is shifting on me, so I need to shift it. So I have, you need about 2 inches to grab. So when you are a customer, some long armors, God man, long armors need prayer. Some long armors will say you need 6 inches, and they will want you to buy, they're connected to a quilt shop, and that quilt shop will want you to buy more fabric. You really only need 2 to 3 inches. Well, 6 inches in a hole, but I went to a quilt shop that they were telling their customers that they needed 6 inches on each side. And of course, that's good for the quilt shop, right? Because that quilt shop is selling the fabric. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm in your way. So I'm gonna bringing it down, girl. So then move the machine all the way over there. I'm going to turn you over here. Iron, it's a Panasonic cordless iron. If you want, after this video, I will put it on the information bar for you. They have them everywhere, I think. Well, I think, okay, because I used to buy them everywhere. Is HSN still a thing? I know years ago when I did a review on the Panasonic iron, at HSN had a giveaway for them, and I bought like 10 of them right here. And when I did the review, I need to roll the quilt up a little bit. Yeah. When I gave the review, I gave probably 2 or 3 away. And then, well, maybe 2. I don't know. Maybe 1 or 2. And then I would do these challenges. And I give away what I love. Okay, so what I'm doing here, let me move you here. I'm right here, finding placement. I'm starting to cross you. And then I roll the quilt. Maybe I'm going to have it to go down a little bit so that it connects to the bottom and it's not. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So it's a Panasonic cordless iron. Let me show it to you. It looks like this. I love it. And one of the things when you have something like this, let's say you're a long armor, my suggestion is you iron towards, let me see if I could get you to see me. Iron in the direction of the piecing. That will flatten it the most. So if you have like these, they're in an angle, iron in that angle. Iron in that angle. And then the starch, I use any kind of starch. I like that. What is it called? What kind of starch is it? I don't even know right now. But I do have some, and I'll show you the bottle. I water it down. You don't need to have like an immense amount of starch. I know you could even make starch out of whiskey. A friend of mine made starch out of whiskey. Alcohol. What is it called? Best Press. I use I buy a big old thing, or I used to buy a big old thing of Best Press at what? Well, Joann's doesn't exist no more. And I would get a coupon. I think it's gonna be beautiful. Look at that. I'm starting her now. And I don't use the whole concentration of Best Press. I water it down. I have these leftover bottles that I've gotten from Best Press. I need an iron right here. Barbara, I need to put your name down. Barbara Puff. Jody. Let me read your question. Let me write your name down. Hold on. Let me. Barbara. Hold on, okay? Let me start the machine. I want to start the machine so I'm not taking your day. I got one. I always, man, come on. Camera. What happened? Don't sleep on the job here. I need you to be here. We're going to move the long arm in this area. And the reason I move it to this area is because I have a gap. I always, I don't know. I usually change the bobbin over here. I also, yesterday I had a quilt that had, oh no, I undid the eye of the needle. I get rid of the lint as much as I can. I used to, and I still do maybe. I clean the bobbin area. I put oil in there's several droplets of oil. I over oil. I'm an over oiler. And you who just bought a new Gamma, over oil your machine. It's not going to hurt anything. The reason I over oil, because I feel like this machine is like a vehicle. And the more oil you put on it, the better. I don't think it matters. It's better to have it oiled than not oiled. I also clean the bobbin. I clean the bobbin and I put a drop of oil in the bobbin case. I am using the jump ring right now on this bobbin. For some reason, on this bobbin case, the jump ring is not giving me a hard time. Usually I use bobbin genies for when I'm working. Let me go. So I didn't oil when I started because I was running late. But usually I oil everything before I start the machine. But because I oil, the machine is pretty much oiled already. Let me move you here. Sorry. Let's journey to this side of the machine. Auto. I need to get the eye of the needle in. When I was cleaning the bobbin area or the needle, it had a lot of lint. So I ended up getting a thread. Come on. Sorry, it's going to have my DNA on it. Okay, I'm sorry. No, what I'm going to do is too, when I have the binding on, I am going to wash the quilt so that I can make sure that there's no open seams anywhere. And if they are, I will fix them. But this quilt, as I'm ironing it, it looks really good. So, nope. Right now I'm telling the machine where I want it to start. I found my spot. Come on. Found my spot. Is my bobbin in right? I pull my bobbin to make sure. There it is. She's going. And then I have lint right here since I was cleaning it. Now this area I need to. Since I'm giving it to you, I'm going to be on top of it a little bit. I'm going to move you over here so you can see what Lorena means on top of it. There's fullness here and here. So I'm going to tuck and pull in different, like there's fullness right here, so I'm going to tuck and pull, and there's fullness right there. Do you see that right there? Maybe you don't, but I do. So it didn't create a puddle or a pleat. I moved the design towards the quilting. You're gonna hear me. You see me pulling that just fabric, just letting the quilting go, and then like in this area where it's a little bit full, maybe you can't see that, Lorena. It would help if they could see what you're doing. There's fullness right here, so I'm gonna hold it tight so it goes inside the seam or inside the quilting area. And it's just literally like holding and tugging the fabric so it doesn't pleat. I call this a finger dance. One lady was like correcting me on my comments. It's taking in the fullness, ma'am. That's what you're doing. Like, yeah, okay, yes, you're right. It's taking in the fullness. But I call it the finger dance. See how you see that fullness right here? You're just taking it in and putting it within the quilting. And you're also controlling the quilt from pleating anywhere. So another thing that I could do while I'm working over here is this area is really flat, so I'm not going to focus on it. I'm not going to finger dance, but this area right here, I don't know if you can see me, this area here, it's kind of full. So when the machine comes in this area, I'm going to work on it. And another thing I could do is, if I don't want to work on it, starch the area with a little bit more starch and have your quilt, your iron real hot. So it takes in that fullness, and you see that fullness is taken in. And you see that in this quilt, it has fullness on the curve area. Nice and full. I don't know if you see me. And you can sometimes just let, but I also call hover. You hover over the quilt and steam. And while you hover steam, it does take in all that fullness. And since I want to talk to y'all, now she's nice and stiff. If you guys are ever building a quilt like this, I really do recommend that you starch every component. Heavily starch it so your fabric doesn't move. So when you put it back together, by the time you have the quilt together, that starch has locked itself in. Let's see. I'm going to come back and I'm going to answer. Let me see. Jeanette Harris, how are you? Oh, you love it. I know. Panasonic iron for the goal, for the win. For real. I love mine. I have a lot of them. I'm the kind of person that I buy, if I fall in love with something, I'll buy like 3 or 4. And the reason is like Maytag, when they made their first one, they were expensive, like $150, and I don't think they were selling them, so they sold it, the patent, to Panasonic, so they could distribute more of them for a cheaper price. Let me just say that I buy a couple of, if I fall in love with something, I buy 1 or 2, because just, like, hey, if they stop making it, I still have leftover. My family says, don't you already have 2 or 3? And I said, yes, and it comes from this. When I was a young kid, I had a favorite Revlon, beautiful burgundy, gold crystals lipstick. And I remember I would buy like 2 or 3, and then they stopped making it. And to this day, to this moment in my life, guess what I look for? I'm still looking for that lipstick. And that's why it doesn't hurt to have a couple. Let me move you. Please, quilt, don't move. I'm going to turn the fan on because girlfriend, she's sweaty. Hopefully it doesn't create more noise. I want you to see, hopefully with this camera, how beautiful the quilting looks. Oh no, come on. Yeah, I need to figure out the hand signals for this one, because I don't know them very well. What else? Let's see. Do I need to write down some names? No more names. Jody Roundtree, I got you. Joe Chambers, I have you. Jeanette Harris, I think I need to put you down. Put you down, Jeanette Harris. I need to put you down. Hopefully the fan, it's following me. Hey. Let me put a chair to go. Jeanette Harris. Jeanette Harris. All right, let's see. I'm gonna probably announce the winner. So this is gonna, everybody who's on this live stream, I'm gonna put your name twice on the raffle. Everybody who watches this and comments, even if you've been on my live stream and you comment again, I'll put your name 3 times. Okay? But let's say you didn't get to hang out with me on this live stream. If you watch the live stream later and make a comment, I will put your name in the raffle also. It's going to be open to 4th of July. Amen? And I think after 4th of July, I will do another live stream. Okay? And I will announce the winner. I don't think I have your name. Annette. My readers, girl. I feel like a very important person. Annette. Wait a minute. Anita. The Army nurse. Let me see. Bobby. Got you, Bobby. Thank you for loving my red. There's a lot of Darlene's here. I used to have a bestie named Darlene. I miss her. Barbara. Love. Got your name. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, everyone. You want to see something I was making on my laser? Let me move you to the quilt. I think that's more interesting. She's so pretty. Hello. KFW. Nice to have you here. Some of you are not even, you probably watch in the background. I never see your comments. You're never like, hey, I'm here. You okay, little girl? You want to see my blue? She's so sweet. Are you the one that smells like little? No, it's not you. It's the other one. Say hi. Say hi, little blue. Say hi. You're the new soulmate? Huh? You're this new soulmate? Let me see. Let me move you guys. I love you, Mama. You okay? It's very soothing. You know what I love watching on YouTube? There's this guy, he restores paints. He restores paints, and I love when they scrape the paint off. And then there's another man who restores like antique paint, artwork. Well, there's a man who restores furniture, and you know when they're cutting the paint off? And I love watching, I don't know why, the scraping off of the paint. I'm sure it's annoying to them because it's gross and dirty, but I love it. But there's a guy who restores artwork, and you know how they have there's like a gloss over it and it turns yellow? I don't know what it's called right now. And then he cleans it like little Q-tips. I just love watching him do that. You cold? I'll turn it towards me. You want to go outside? Yes? Because it's cold? I love you. So I'm going to start starching. Again, it's rinse and repeat, guys. And I'm going to starch the bottom. And this time I'm adding a little bit. I have 2 bottles. One that has half best press and one that has 1/3 of best press and 2/3 of water. So this one, you can see it's a little bit more purple, and this is a lighter purple. I don't use full best press because it's expensive to me. Water with starch. So I kind of try to stretch it. Hold on, let me see. And I have like old bottles. I have old bottles, come on, that, like, this is really diluted. I think this is 1/4 best press and 3/4 of water. And then this one, I'll probably do 2/3 best press. So I have them all in different diluted stages because when I'm quilting, I'm trying to see if I could starch the fullness out without putting too much starch on it. So water is a big, what I really do like using, just plain water. Come on. But since this quilt has a little bit more of a wave or fullness in it, I like using a little bit more starch. And the more, let's say I ironed it and I starched it and it didn't take up, then I'll wait for a little bit and allow it to dry, and then I'll add a best press that has more starch in it, and then I'll restarch. I saw a lady one time, she had her quilt really full of fullness. And so that's how I kind of managed the, literally, I save the bottles. And then I bought, like years ago, like the big container of Best Press, the big one. And then I fill the bottles with different stages. Ironing, right? Ironing with starch. I used to go to quilt places and then they would say, don't iron a quilt. Like, I don't know why. Like, when you're piecing, you should be ironing your piece blocks, right? And then fabric is so pliable and stretchy. This is where I'm at. I'm almost getting ready. That's why I was starching. Yes, make time for yourself, Bobby. Did I put your name down? Bobby McCoy. And then Rosa. I don't remember seeing you here. Let me write your name down. Bobby McCoy. Rose Sandoval. Rosa. Bobby. I think I have your name. Thank you for the... I hope I'm helping. I remember when I started and I talked about it, no one shared the... Well, if they did share, like Linda's Electric Quilting did share her tips and tricks, but you had to pay to be a member of her stuff, which is annoying. So I decided to share my stuff to you guys for free. Why not? Let me move this. I'm going to move the quilt, and I don't want to give you my back. We're gonna get ready for another row. All right, let me move this. I'm gonna move her back. And I'm also gonna undo the tensioner here while I'm here. Try to save time. Gonna move while I'm doing that. I have, let's see. And so let's see. Ow. Hopefully I didn't have enough back fabric. And you can see, I'm gonna start my iron too. My and I said, let me see. And then you can see this batting is not, it's like off. So I need to kind of work the batting. And then I gently tug on the quilt, just gently. Or you could rub her. You can just give her some loving rubbing. Okay, rub her, love her, rub her. You could just rub her, and you could see where some of the, and I'll show you the piecing where it's not accurate. And I'm sorry, y'all are getting this one. It's not bad, but you could see, I'll move you so you can see it. You could see where this, well, let's iron. Before we go there, Sometimes ironing is a saving grace, man. But you could see where, I'm gonna move her here, that, and hopefully she doesn't move. If she moves, I wish you guys could talk to me. You can see and do you see how I'm ironing towards the quilting? But you can see over here, it's almost like it's tight. And she's just tight, it's not that big a deal. But she had trouble in this area. You can see she really had a hard time right here because it feels like this block is a little bit smaller than a certain area. Let me move you. Let me let my dogs out. Out of nowhere. And you can see my fabric because I'm putting pressure on the back fabric. And you could just see, well, it's better now where it seemed extremely tight here. But let's see. Ironing goes a long way, guys. Don't not do it. I remember I had a lady who, she had really bad puddling and she's like, I don't know how to fix it. I said, iron. Who would have thought ironing could just fix something so easily? Let me get that quilted and then maybe I can get it to go down so you can see what I'm doing here. Yeah, kind of. And then I'm going to move her up in a minute. You see that the quilt is, I want to make sure that this is straight and this is straight. And you saw a minute ago, I had to kind of like work with her. Just a little bit of hand pressure goes a long way too. Just a little bit of hand pressure. Your hand literally kind of starts becoming a little bit like a feed dog in a direction. See how it's like a little full here? We'll fix that with the ironing. And I'm gonna move you here. So you could, nope, don't fall. Don't betray me, camera. All right, hold on. Ah, you betrayed me. And then you see how it's bowing because I ironed? We're gonna tighten that. We're gonna move her here. Ugh, wow, is my knee. Just little gentle tugs can also realign the quilt and pull it like it's curved. This little tug will lock it into the back and it'll lock it. It'll give you a visual of it being straight. Hopefully, let me see. So I'm gonna go ahead and re-get this going. Sorry if the machine's in front of you. Bum, bum, bum. It's like jumping rope here. I'm glad, Jody. Made me so happy. There was a lady who I used to watch on YouTube, and I loved her channel. I don't know what her name, if she's still doing it. But I liked her because she would share like really great tips. And then there's some people that I watched and they take forever to get to the dang point. Come on. So she's coming 2, and then she's pretty flat. I need to lift her up on the pickup bar. Bum bum. And I think time is more valuable than money. And let me see. Hopefully you can see her. See her quilting right there. This camera that betrayed me. What the heck? I'm trying to get another camera to stay in position. I like this viewpoint sometimes because you can see where you see a little bit of wrinkling. We're going to work on that. Puddling and wrinkling are two things. Puddling is extra fabric. That is puddling. This is kind of wrinkling. And puddling you can't get rid of sometimes. Like right here. Let me move you. And where the quilt is being quilted, I try to iron that area. And then I move on to the rest of the quilt. Yeah, and then I also start ironing kind of this area here before I roll it. And then I will start, let me tighten the top. There you go. The beautiful top view. Nana, wait, let me write your name down. Nana? I'm glad you're here, Nana. And honestly, if you have questions, ask me. I'm here. We're here together. If you have questions, long-run quilting questions, business questions, client questions, if you want some gossip, I'll share some gossip. I have some tea. What's it like to work for clients? What's it like to have a business from home? Thank you. I'm glad I get to inspire y'all. I want you to know that it's a blessing to be here with y'all. I would have never done YouTube. After I got my degree, I was gonna work, get a real job, and I decided to stay and start doing YouTube. Isn't that funny? Thank you for letting me inspire you. Thank you for taking time to spend time with me. I'm creating some things that I'm going to start selling on my Etsy shop. It's Lorena by Cadena Etsy shop. I really don't have anything on there other than 2 patterns. But I'm creating some stuff that I think will be neat to share because it's going to be on my laser. I'm also going to be more faithful in my laser channel. I need to do my laser channel more. When the quilt is longer on one side on the other. Hold on, I'll answer your question, okay? What do you do when a quilt is longer on one side and the other? I'm going to showcase your question so I can answer it while I'm changing the bobbin. Depending on the quilt, I have a video where I had a quilt that was like an upside down U. the quilt was, let me see, let me move you here. So the quilt looked like an upside down U, so it was longer on both sides than it was in the center. I'm gonna move you here, you're gonna watch me. With that quilt is I had to take up, which I created, I had to make a pleat for it, and you kind of pleat it on one side. Like, let me show you here. Let's say this quilt was longer, and if you have no fabric here and you have a seam here, you could literally take up the fabric and make a pleat. Like literally make a pleat. And then when I based it down, let's say this was out of line, kind of like that. It's not, but let's say it was. You could take it up and do a pleat and then baste the pleat and then hand stitch it and it'll look like a seam. That's one thing you could do if the quilt is longer than the other. A lot of times that happens because the lady who was sewing the border was pulling the border. Okay, what? She didn't measure the top and bottom and the center to get the average of what the border should be. And because of that, she just sewed it straight. And she didn't know that maybe when she was showing off the quilt on one side or the other, she had pulled it and the bias made it longer. Well, hold on. What happened? Where did I go? Okay. I'll answer your question, Nana, in a minute. And so what ends up happening is that when she put the border, the top was not square. And so it's longer, kind of like wonky on one end. And if she would have measured the top, center, and bottom, let's say it's 50 on each, and then cut the border 50, and then pinned both ends of the border and the center, and then kind of worked in the fullness, and then used the feed dogs to either bring in the fullness or bring in that extra slag or stretch that she created to square up the top. If the client didn't do that, sometimes they'll start being longer on one side. And if you're on top of it, and I'll show you what I mean. If you're on top of it, you'll start seeing, like, let's say this was I need to move you. Hold on. Let me get a camera where I can move you. You'll start seeing the quilt. And I have a video that I'm going to do sometime this week where you start seeing, let's say she had sashing, and you'll start seeing the sashing warp or angle a little bit. It angles down a little bit. If you catch that early, you could start moving the fullness up, iron the fullness out, and flatten it, and kind of like become the long armor become a feed dog to work in that shifting of the fabric. And a lot of, like this client who did this, she had blocks and then put sashing. And while she put sashing, you can see the sashing angling down. If you look on the edge of your long arm, and the sashing is doing this, take that sashing and start straightening it out, and you'll start seeing a puddling of fabric. If you get it early enough, you don't have to pleat. If you don't get it early enough, you'll have a big old, like, big giant piece of fabric that'll look like, I wish I could, it will look like that. That you're gonna have to look where in an area, like here's a seam right here, there's a natural seam that she put in. You're gonna have to look and then grab that fullness and tuck it and make a pleat like that. And I'll bring you closer. So now let me bring you down, okay, so you can see what I'm saying. So let's say this was angling down. You could move the fabric up a little bit, iron it, but sometimes that shifting is like 2 or 3 inches, and it's a problem. Hold on, my dogs are going crazy. You're gonna just have to either iron, starch, wait for it to dry a second, iron again, or starch again and iron, and take up as much as that fabric and stiffen it up. But sometimes I have a video on wavy borders, you'll see that like it's going in a U. So what I find is if I don't catch it early enough, I'm trying to answer, okay, I'll turn around and I'll find a seam somewhere and I'll grab that fabric and create another, like I'll take in, so I'm taking in a 1/2 inch and I'll take it in by using the seam to become a guide for me. And then like if you see the white fabric right there, and that will hide under, and usually the quilt has a different color, it's not white, so you won't see this big giant seam, and baste it down and quilt, and you won't even know that the quilt was longer. But there's a video that I've made. It's called Wavy Borders, how not to have wavy borders. And I used to have a friend, her name is Melanie Funk. I have a video where I fixed this beautiful flower quilt and it had wavy borders. And then I also had my friend Melanie who showed me, because I didn't know, because what I used to do is make the top. What I used to do is make the top and then just cut fabric, make a whole long piece of border, and then sew it all on. And whether I knew if my quilt top was stretched or longer than the other, but in this video, I will post those videos on the information bar if you want to see them. But if you have one side that's longer, you can pleat. And then I pleat it, I baste it down, and then I turn around and when I trim the quilt and I go through the whole quilt, making sure there's no thread or anything around, I'll go ahead and I'll hand stitch that pleat. So the client doesn't even know I pleated it, but I will tell the client that I pleated it. You cannot, when you have it on the long arm already, and you have already, it's longer on one side or the other, it is really hard to fix a border that's longer than the other than pleating it or taking it in with starch and water. If it's not that long, if it's like an inch and a half, you could take it in real good. If it's longer, and I had that quilt was about 4 inches, 3 inches stretched out, where it was like a upside down U. I had to pleat, and I had to find a hidden space to pleat. But now I recommend this if you're a long armer. When you take a client's quilt in, naturally I measure one side and I measure the other side, one width, one horizontal. I've gotten to the point that I measure all of it, both the width, both the horizontal, because if I see that one side is like 2 inches longer, I know that I'm going to deal with waviness. And so when I put it on the long arm, I'm already kind of anticipating that I'm going to have to be working the quilt up a little bit and pushing that fabric up to square up the length. If you know what I mean. Like I will be pushing the fabric up a little bit so that I could deal with the length. Hold on, I have a video coming up on a client's quilt. She's a friend client that you could see that the sashing was just angling just a smidge, but then if I didn't catch it and pull it up and straighten it out, that smidge gets to be like a big length of where it's longer on one end than the other. And so I recommend, if you want to watch my YouTube channel, it's Lorena's Wavy Border Prevention. Another one is how to not have wavy borders. And another one, and these are old videos. I have short hair. These are from probably 2015, maybe. Yeah. As a matter of fact, the quilt that was an upside down U, she was one of the worst clients ever. Come on. She was the worst client. So yeah. So those are kind of like my recommendations. But if you catch it ahead of time, I've learned that if I catch it ahead of time, girl, okay, I already have the bobbin in there. It is better to manage than if I catch it too late, because if I catch it ahead of time, I'm literally working in the quilt a smidge by smidge, maybe like a 1/4 of an inch or a 1/3 of an inch. If I get it too late, then it's almost like I'm having to deal with 2.5 inches of length, and ooh, it's a struggle. Come on. But if you measure, ow, whoop, almost got my finger. That would have been a medical emergency. If you measure, come on. No, 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 no. Little dogs. Okay, they're not there. If you measure right away your client's quilts or your friend's quilts, whoever's quilt you have, I recommend measuring all of it. Measuring also your back fabric. Hello? Let me get your name so I don't lose you. The name, Nana's asking me the name. Judy, I'm doing great. Now that the camera's up my face, I'm doing wonderful. The name of my Etsy shop. Come on, go out, please. Pan out. Pan out. I don't know. Once this camera starts doing what it does, I can't do it. The name of my Etsy shop is Lorena by Cadena. Lorena by BYCADENA. I try to get Lorena's quilting, and I think I have one that's Lorena's quilting, but I may have lost the password or. Hello, Audrey. Hopefully I'm safe. I am the pattern I'm quilting on here. It's called Quill Feathers or Quill. Q-U-I-L. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, Q-U-I-L-L. I bought it, I think, from Ann Bry or Urban Elements. Thank you for stopping by from California. Jeanette Harris, you could do it. Hello, how are you? Clarissa. I always makes wonder if I say your name right. Hello, Living and Crafting with MS. Nice to see you. Do I explain that to Kevin Wright is asking me? Let me see. I'm all up in y'all face here. All right, let me see. Let me see if I get back. Let me get back. Do I let my clients know? Come on. Okay. Do I let my clients know that their border may be wavy? Yeah. Yeah. I just let them know that, oh, by the way, your quilt is a little longer on this side. I may have to pleat it. Are you okay with that? And some of them, not all of them, usually by the time I get their quilts, they don't fix it. I don't care. Just deal with it. Not any of them have taken their quilts back and say, well, I'll fix it. I'll take care of it. Because usually by the time they're coming to me, they're ready to get it done. If it's an inch longer, if it's an inch or an inch and a half longer, I don't say anything because I could fix that. I know I could fix that. I know that, and I literally will write notes that they don't know I wrote. And I'll say the right side is a little longer. It's 2 inches longer. And then I know on the right side, when I very first start quilting it, I have to manage the right side. If it's longer on the left side, I know, I just keep an eye on it. And then the neat thing is if I already know, I could kind of push fabric, like you saw me pushing fullness into one area or another. I could also push fabric up a little bit as I'm rolling the quilt. Like you saw me when I'm working on the quilt, I'm pushing it down and working it down. If right now I would look at the end of this quilt and not see it square, I would already start pushing the area that's puddling down or puddling longer. I would be kind of working it up a little bit. So if it's an inch and a half, no, I don't say anything. If it's 3 to 4 inches, I'll say something, and I'll just say, it's a little bit longer on one side. Are you okay with me pleating it or taking it up a little bit to square it? And usually by then, they're like, whatever, you do whatever, you know what you're doing. And they kind of let it go. There are some times when people do mitered corners, and it looks like the ears are flapping out like that. I do not fix that, because when I just let it be, some quilts some quilts it looks like you'll have a quilt here and it goes like that, right? The bottom looks, and it's like literally an angle. And so what I'll do is I'll quilt that angle, and I'll give them the quilt. If I could not take it up, I'll give them the quilt the way they gave it to me. If I can fix it, I will fix it. If I can't, I will just quilt it the way it is. But that's where it comes, that measuring. I measured the right side. No, come on. I measured the right side. I measured the left side. Where that comes into play, that gives me like knowledge of what I'm getting into. Another thing you could do if you have a wavy or longer border is you can quilt the quilt on the horizontal. That means it's not going to hang down like this one does. It's not going to hang down. It is going to hang down on the side, but it's not going to hang on the vertical. And the neat thing about that is you could work the bias or that unevenness out easier. So sometimes, I don't know if you've seen on my channel, I'll put a quilt on the horizontal because I know that quilt is not square. And it helps a lot. That helps a lot. Let's see here. Thank you, Rhonda. Oh, Nana, the shop that I buy these quilts from, her name is Young 2008. YOUNG 2008. Or you could literally put unfinished quilt tops, and she will pop up. Does it? I don't care if I hurt my client's feelings. And I try to be as nice as I possibly can, but I don't want to be responsible for a quilt that they're not going to care about my feelings when they get mad about their quilt. People are ruthless. And if you don't do something right, I think you tell them up front all the time, hey, I told one client, your borders are wonky because it was an antique quilt. I can't fix that. Are you okay with that? Yeah. The quilt is not square because some of the borders are out of line. Are you okay with that? Yes. And the reason you need to not care about their feelings, because you need to let them know up front what they're getting into with you, so that when you show them the quilt, they're not, well, why is it this? And why isn't it straight? And why is the block not perfect? And why did that happen? And when you tell them up front and they're okay with it, they take the quilt for how you did it. So don't be afraid to tell people the truth. And I'm not trying to be mean. Clients could be ruthless, guys. And clients can be ruthless. I had a client, they're ruthless. I could tell you client stories. Let me say this. I had a client. Have mercy on me, Jesus. I used to, and sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. If you're a new client, sometimes I'll do, bring me 4 quilts and I'll give you one for free. And I used to do that a lot for some clients. But like the one with the wavy border, the one I fixed her wavy border quilt, she got mad at me about another quilt that I did for her. What happened is the long arm didn't do the tension right and I had to unstitch it. And this is the mistake I made. It's when I unstitched it, I didn't tear the fabric. I didn't puncture holes in it at all. What it had is holes from the quilting. All you have to do to fix that is spray water and iron the steam, and the sewing holes disappear. Well, she got mad because there were sewing holes. And I told her, all you have to do is wash the quilt and those sewing holes disappear. And she's like, I want my money back. I want my money back. I want all my money back. And at the time, I did 3 quilts for her, and I gave her 2 for free. 2 for free. 2 for free. And I charged her for 3 quilts. Man, at the time, I would screw myself. I would screw myself so bad. I charged her for those 3 quilts that were king-size quilts, maybe $230, and I gave her 2 medium throw quilts for free. She wanted all her money back. All of it. And I couldn't stand her. She was frustrating me. I was getting angry. So I pulled all the money and I paid her. And then she turned around and she told me, are you going to fix it? And I go, no, just put it in the washer. Put the quilt that had little sewing holes in the washer and the holes will disappear. I unstitched it because the quilting tension wasn't right and I wanted to make sure it was quilted right. She goes, you're not going to take it and fix it for me? I go, I just refunded you $230. I gave you free work. I gave her 5 quilts for free. She goes, well, I don't care. I want you to fix it. I go, go home. Go live your best life. You got 5 quilts quilted for free. Get out of my face. So, don't care if it hurt their feelings. They don't care if they hurt yours. They really don't care. So people don't just, I think you try, let them know ahead of time, everything. Let them know everything ahead of time. I had a client here. Hopefully I could get her. Come on. Anyway, I had a client one time. She wanted me to not quilt the center of the block. It was a t-shirt quilt and only quilt the border. And I told her, you need to quilt the center of the t-shirt so that it locks it down so it doesn't bow out on you. She goes, no. That's not what I want. I want you to custom do the border and leave the t-shirt the way they are. So Lorena obeyed the client. She listened to the client because the client knows better than Lorena. She came back to me and said, hey, I don't like it. I didn't like it. She goes, you need to fix it for me. And I said, but you told me you didn't want it. But this is the problem with that. I trimmed the quilt already. I took it off the leaders already. When you have a quilt on the leader, like right here, the quilt stretches. So it's stretched. And it's as flat as you could get it, but it's stretched. And when you release the tension, the quilt is a bit different. The quilt kind of, and I'll show you what I mean when you release tension. Ouch. When you release tension from the quilt itself kind of, because I'm pulling the back and I'm stretching, the quilt kind of breathes in. It kind of like, it kind of gathers in a little bit. So this was a t-shirt quilt. She didn't want nothing on the centers of the blocks. So now I removed it from that tension. And what happens is underneath the back fabric is now very puddly, and the top fabric, because it's a t-shirt fabric, is puddly, stretched out. And so she's like, you need to fix it. And so I literally grabbed her quilt after I counseled her, put it back on the long arm, and now I was having to deal with making sure that the back of the fabric didn't pleat, because now it was kind of loose. It was really loose. And I had to make sure that I created the same kind of tension that I had on it when I did the border. And so it was like a pain in the butt, but I did it. It worked. It was great. I did a good job. But I could have literally been the kind of long armor and said, I'm sorry, I'm not putting it back on. You're paying me for what I did what you asked me. You pay me for what I said. You're not my problem. You need to figure that out. But I don't know. I feel like I should have, and this is where my mistake is, I should have reinforced, hey, I'm letting you know. If it's gonna puddle. And the problem is, if you have more than 5 inches or the size of your hand not quilted down, when that quilt is in the washer dryer, the inside batting will tear, and it'll tear within the corners, and the pressure of it'll pull itself apart, and then you'll have balls around the block. Because if it's a 12 by 12, that fabric under stress of the washer dryer, the batting will pull. And that's why you have old antique quilts. I have one that I'm restoring where the batting is just all torn up because they didn't have enough quilting. So tell them whatever you have, whatever comes into mind. Your fabric may bleed, let them know. It's gonna puddle, let them know. It's, there's open seams here. Are you okay with me hand stitching them? Let them know. When you're examining the quilt, measure all of it. Let them know it's a little bit longer over here. That means I'm going to have to take it up. That means it's not perfectly flat. Let them know. And when they know, they can't blame you because you let them know. And just talk to them. And people are like rational, most of them. Like the lady with the dumb, stupid puncture holes on the dumb quilt. And I learned I did a chandelier quilt that me and a friend were watching from years back. It's a quilt that I did years ago. And I had to base down it had like a little ledge on it. I had to baste it down. And I ended up having pleats. And because of that chandelier weird stuff that it was, the design of that quilt pattern, I told my client, I may have little pleats because of this. And also too, I'm going to have to stitch it down. Let me get my iron ready. Are you okay if that happens? Because things may happen. Let people know. I think the more honest you are and straightforward you are, and then people trust you because they know you're not playing games. I think it's crooked. If you don't tell your client, hey, it's a queen size quilt. I'm charging you $4 a bobbin. It's going to cost you $20. And I also think it's crooked if, let's say, I think this crap is crooked. Now, to be honest. And I have a couple friends who are long armors that do this crap. They're not my friends, okay? I don't associate with them, but they're long armors I know. They used to be friends, but when I found out they're crooked, I'm out. The overcharger. I have a friend who long arms. She's an overcharger. Every time she finds something, she calls the client. Well, I found an open seam, and if you want me to fix those seams, I'm charging you $20. And then, the client goes, okay. And then, oh, your border's wavy. I'm going to have to take it in. I'm going to charge you $10. And then she calls again. Oh, by the way, your quilt is, I'm going to charge you another $20. That crap should not be happening while the long armor has your quilt. That crap should be happening before the long armor takes it in. Like the day I grab your quilt, I'm like, by the way, I don't charge for cutting your quilt, but if I did, I'd let you know. I do charge a thread fee, but I think I try to charge a fair thread fee. I don't charge bobbin fees. My fees, the highest I even charge for a king size quilt. I know I did a custom quilt for this lady and I charged her $18 for the thread. And the reason I charged her $18 for the thread is because the amount of custom quilting I did on her quilt. And the amount of thread changes. I had to change the thread 4 times. And I put so much thread in that quilt. I felt like it was a justified charge. But if I'm doing a panto like this one, I would only charge $8. $7, $7.50, $8. More densely quilted, $8.50. Less densely quilted, $7 to $6. So I try to be real fair. But when you have a client, or if you're a client and you go to a long armor, you need to have that long armor tell you everything. My long armor knows how much they're going to pay me. They know what pattern I'm going to use. They know I'm going to charge them a thread fee. They know how much I'm going to charge. They know how much I'm going to charge them. So when they look at the bill, literally right in front of me, they look at the bill. I'm like, are you okay with that? And they're like, yes, I'm fine. And then I take in the work and I never, ever, ever change my bill. Ever. I had a friend, man, and she's like, sorry, I'm going on a tangent. Well, I had to call the client because I had to fix her border. Well, why didn't you call the client and have the client pick her up and her fix the border herself? Well, no. I fixed her border and then I told her how much I'm charging her for fixing it already. No. Sorry. You don't do that to people. I had a man a long time ago. Hold on. He wanted to mow my yard. I guess he was broke or something. And then I was like, well, let me think about it. He was in front of my house. And by the time I got to my house, that jerk was mowing my yard. And I think what made me mad about him, infuriated me with him, is he took advantage of me saying, I'll think about it. And kind of well, now that I've done it, now you have to pay me. And I don't think a long armor should ever do that to a client, ever. If you are not told ahead of time, and it's so uncomfortable to me. I had a contractor who was working for me and doing my house. He wanted to upcharge every little damn thing he could so he could poke my eyes out. And I got to the point with him, I'm like, if you can't give me a... Then we were finishing and he turns around and he didn't want to do some shelving on the side, bottom, base of my countertop. He goes, well, I was going to do this. And I said, no. I go, you're charging me $300 for that. So are we deleting that from the fee? He goes, no. I just kind of generalized it. Thought in my mind what I was going to charge you for each individual thing. It's a general fee. I go, no, it's not a general damn fee. You said you'd put shelves. And it's $300 if you don't want to do the shelves. We're taking $300 off. And I think long armors should not be like contractors, up-feeing anything. But I'm just, tangent. I'm sorry. No, shame on people, man. But shame on clients, too. I had some clients that just don't get me started. They want, I remember when I bought the long arm, there's this man, and I said, what have you learned about people? And I love what he said to me, so I'm going to share it with you. It was such a neat kind of point of view that he was sharing. Hopefully, is it following me? I mean, sorry, I'm looking at comments. He, what, I lost my train of thought, dang it. He told me this. Long arm quilting, this quilting machine, I paid $40,000 for her. And this is in 2008. And the reason I could have gotten her for probably $28,000, but I ended up buying the, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Maybe not. I ended up paying $40,000 for her. Let me move you so you can see me better. I ended up paying $40,000 for her. I could have paid $28,000 because just for the Statler system was $28,000. But I ended up adding the caster wheels, the hydraulics. That was another $2,000. The light bar, I think it was another $2,000. I ended up getting the light underneath the machine. This light that I always leave on. I should turn it off, but I always leave on. I should leave it on. I always leave it on. Thank God. So I ended up paying $48,000, and I paid a cashier's check with it. And I got into a loan with my mother, which is the worst decision I ever made, which was never a loan. Don't ever get into business with family. Longer story than this will take. And I put in $10,000. Let me see. And she's paid in full. Thank God. She was miserable. And the young man said, I said, what have you learned from people who buy the gamble? And the man said, a high percentage of the people that buy a gamble can't afford it. And I said, how do you know? They nitpick every damn thing. They nitpick everything. Why is it getting stuck? They nitpick everything. They nitpick that things that you shouldn't nitpick. And I said, well, what do you see about me? He says, I know you can afford it. And I said, how do you know that I could afford it? And because when I went to unload the long arm, the pickup bar, it's a bar, I started dragging it through the dirt because it was too heavy for me to carry. He goes, you dragging it through the dirt means that you can afford it. I would have thought. And he says, because you're not trying to find a reason. I don't know why he's doing that. You're trying not, come on. What's wrong with you? What am I doing? Hold on. He's doing something weird. He says, you're not trying to nitpick and nickel and dime me to get a better rate. No, I don't want channel locks. He goes, a person who cannot afford it will constantly find something wrong with what you've done and try to get you to discount them or give them the work for free. And that is so true. I've learned that. If you can't afford me, you will try to find something that I did wrong so that you could take advantage of me. Yeah, crazy. And he's right. I had a father, my stepdad, who adopted me. He was a con artist and a thief. Like a con, big old con. He always was trying to get something for nothing. And he always would complain and find something wrong so that they would lower the rate for him somehow. Always. Never failed. But I love what that man taught me. And people who, and I quickly, like that lady, like, shoot, I gave her 5 quilts for free. Oh my God, that quilt looks so bad. Okay, let me fix. I can't. Do you see how wavy it is? Girl's gonna have to fix. Oh. Why isn't this easy? I need a seam ripper. Where are my seam rippers? Hold on, let me find a seam ripper. It is so true. That client who I gave her 5 here, this not straight here. The client who I gave 5 quilts for $230. $230. Couldn't believe it. The reason I'm opening this seam right now, because I'm hoping I could straighten her by working her. Do you see that? And then you can hold the seam. Does that look better? It looks better, right? Does it look better? Okay, let's see. So yeah, I learned so much. I love what that young man showed me. It was such a gift to me. Oh, let me move you here. Because he was so right. And he goes, I know that you can afford your long arm. He goes, let's see. Let's start quilting. Let's see if I'll go to here. I'm going to start. And then I'll see your comments. And then I'm going to write your name down. And then in a minute, hopefully, I'm going to speed it up maybe. I think the bottom's going to increase. I'm going to pull the pickup bar. Up, up, up. Yeah. That looks really bad. See, some of this you can't fix. Maybe I can. Hold on. Maybe I can. Maybe I can. What I'm doing is see, I can't. Maybe under tension you won't see it anymore. But I don't know if you see how it leaps up and down. Ow. I'm stretching it here. And I'm going to stretch it here. Does it look straighter? No. And it needs to look straighter here. Hold on. I'm going to show you a trick on how I fix this. This is, I'm looking at it. I'm going to starch just the seam. Now I need to be careful with what I just done because the long arm is coming. Now this area right here, down here, that's off, it's okay. Because come on, little iron. I'm gonna look at your comments in a minute, okay? but this is stressing me out. You can pull the border straight. So you saw me starching it right there. And you can hold the border, hold the iron, like here. How annoying. And then you drag your finger across the seam and it aligns it. Is it straighter? Or am I imagining it's straighter? No, I can't fix it. Okay. Yeah, the bobbin went out. All right, hold on one second. So yeah, I'm trying to straighten out that bottom border, but I think in a minute, I'm trying to straighten it as much as I can. You're gonna see that when it's off the tension, the border's not gonna be as warped, hopefully. If not, I'm sorry, that was my fault. It's the maker's fault. It's the maker's fault. So I think I'm on 5 bobbins. Okay, I hear you. Making a lot of noise today. Let me move. Hopefully you could see me still. It's allowing you. All right. Last bobbin. What you're seeing me doing right now is I'm putting tension so that long arm follows the exact same line that it did a minute ago. Let me see your comments. Let me see. Hello. Long arm piece. Your quilts are the worst. Yeah, remove your basing after. The iron is called a Panasonic. Cordless iron, Judy. Amy, I do have few stickers on it. Okay. Chris is here. Lazy Daisy, I think I got you guys down. Let me see the other comments. I leave basting stitches. Let me see. We're almost done, guys. Look at that. Hold on. Let me show you some of this stuff. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Oh my God. Have mercy on me, Jesus. Let me move you here. I am so sorry. I'm like, you can get to see the ceiling and everything. Oh, my life. If you baste, do not... this question, let me answer you. If I baste a quilt, like the edges and the sides, is that what you're asking me? Let me move you here. The edges and the sides. If I baste a quilt, like the seam, like what you've been seeing me, like walking it into the back fabric and the batting, yes, I leave the stitches in. When I trim the quilt, I trim real close to the edge of the border. Let me move your... Trim real close to the edge of the border. I'm literally 1/8. 1/8 or 1/4 inch. I tend to cut and trim your quilt And I use a big juicy ruler like this. Big juicy ruler like this to trim the ruler, and I trim right to the edge. So some of the basting stitches will be cut off because I'm squaring up the quilt, and some of the basting stitches will stay on. The good thing about having basting stitches on the quilt is the quilt is together, so when you're putting the binding, the back fabric, batting, and the top are not going to separate. They're going to stay intact, so you have more control when you're putting the binding down. I had a client, to me, I used to only do a long baste. Now I stitch it down because sometimes I would have to, like you saw me unstitch right now, the bottom of the border. A basting stitch is easier to unstitch than a small stitch. So I had a client who said that she was very frustrated that her client didn't have basting or stitching on the side, and she had a hard time because the batting back fabric started separating. And I thought, you know what, she's kind of right. It makes it easier for the client who receives the quilt. It's together, and the edges aren't flipping up, and the batting is not it's not open. It can't be torn off. Sometimes batting is really fragile. You could literally just kind of, it'll get caught and torn, and all of the quilt is locked in already. So I leave the basting stitches in. I leave in. But sometimes I'll trim, and when I'm squaring it, I'll cut them off, but they'll still be in on most of the quilt. And I don't consider this a basting stitch. I consider it a locked in. It's a lock stitch. It's locked in. So let me, like down here, I didn't do it. Down here, you see that? I'm gonna go back, and the reason I opened it right now is because I was trying to straighten the border and try to make the border look as straight as possible, because it's dipping here, then it bows down, and it dips up and it bows down, and I'm trying to straighten it. So, but when I go back, before I close today or leave today, or even after you guys see me finish it, I will go back and stitch it down. I will go back and stitch all this down so you don't have to deal with this. But it's not a basting stitch for me. It's a regular stitch down stitch. So yeah. But you saw me unstitching it, and then I love these. Hold on, hope I answered your question. If I didn't, I'm sorry. This cutting seam ripper, I love this. They sell them at Tooltron.com, and I think they're like $2.50. They used to be 70 cents. I would buy these like in bulk. It's like a little razor blade, and it's so easy. You saw me unstitching the fabric earlier so quickly. Instead of using that, move here, instead of using the, like I use this tool, favorite tool ever. And I usually have it here because I use it so often, or I have it where my bobbins are. And then, so we're almost done. Let me see if I have everybody's name, okay? I'm gonna come here and see. I have Chris on here. Do I have June Hennis? I'm gonna put you down, June. Hanson, sorry. Judy. I had. This has 4 rows. I did 4 rows, so it's a longer design, a bit longer. I'll share with you the design. So she was asking me this question. I'm gonna move her here. It's 4 rows. The width, this design per section is, the length of it is 21 in length. That's why it's a blessing to have a longer table, but it's 4 rows, and I use literally 1 bobbin per row. So if you have a long armor who is quilting your quilt for you, and she's saying it's taking 8 bobbins, it must be some really tight quilting, because that's not the truth. Mine, I'm quilting 4 repeats, 4 rows. My repeats are 21 inch long, probably like 18 inches wide, because this is an 89 by 89, I believe. Don't quote me, it's not exactly. I do think that if this is a king size quilt, I would have to, like, sometimes I like doing a king size quilt the long way, so you roll it less. And the neat thing is my throat plate is 32. I have a very long throat plate. Let me put my stuff away. I'm gonna put you here. I don't need the starch no more. Let's put the starch away. And then let's see. I did wind 6 bobbins for you never know. But in general, I only use probably 5. I think 5. This is my 4th bobbin. Is my fourth bobbin, but it comes in a little bit, maybe like an 1/8 of the length. Yes. So you have M bobbins. Mine are M bobbins, and let me share with you my bobbins because I think they're the best deal ever. My M bobbins I bought on Amazon. I went and I linked them. They're still, because I was talking about this on another live stream. These are the M bobbins. They are 30 cents a bobbin. Gamble is selling their bobbins for $3.50 a bobbin, maybe $5 a bobbin. These are only 30 cents. And make sure you get the ones that have the opening, a big opening, not a little opening. You want to be able, do you see how that opening looks? I don't know if I could get it. So they're M bobbins. Okay, I think I answered June. My shelves that I'm using behind me, I got them at IKEA. I got these shelves right here at IKEA. They fit your thread really pretty. And I got this bookshelf at IKEA. It's not a bookshelf, it's like a shoe shelf. What I love about it is really shallow, but it allows me to put my clients' quilts in there, and it allows me, so anything that's over here in this section, I call it ready to quilt section. The bottom row, I have bins on the bottom. Let me see. I have some bins on the bottom, trust me. Those are considered taken. I literally have my clients' quilts down there. I pull out the bin, put leaders on the back fabric, and then I transition them into that area. Once I have the back fabric in that area, I already have the batting cut, the back fabric ready, the quilt tops on top, and I have my winders. I have 2 bobbin winders. I'll wind all my bobbins for those quilts. And then with those little sticks that I made, I put that down with the thread, and I'm ready to transition from one quilt to another. In a minute, I'm going to take this quilt off, and my transitions from one quilt to another take literally less than 10 minutes. I can literally start the next quilt in 10 minutes. It used to take me 3 hours because I was doing it Gamel's way. It only takes me 10 minutes to put the back fat, unsew this, remove this from the quilting machine. Remove this off the quilting machine, and it only takes me, literally a couple minutes. As a matter of fact, let me go get the back fat batting. Usually I have everything together, everything ready to go. We're almost done, guys. Look at us. Right now you're gonna see me come back, and I'm gonna stop. I don't know where you see me. I'm going to come back this stitch right here. I don't want it open for me, especially when because I'm going to be putting the binding on. So I'm going to bring it here because I unstitched it so that I could deal with that weird uneven. She sounds like a broken car. She's done. Usually when I do this, I also take the batting off. But because I didn't have to trim off like I normally do, I didn't have to worry about any of that. I'm going to go ahead and unroll her. Isn't she lovely? So here. I'm going to do a video on, Gamma wanted to offer me a faster machine. They said they could get me in a faster machine. I don't think it matters if your machine is fast or not. It matters how you streamline your work. And one of the things I've learned, let me see if I could get it to showcase. Oh, this quilting looks gorgeous. Now you tell me if I made a bad decision. One of the things, look at, ain't she gorgeous? That's for one of y'all. Tammy. I need to write your name down. Tammy. Did I write your name down, Tammy? Thacker. Gamel has a really bad, it's not bad, nothing's bad about nothing, but they have a, sorry, I'm moving, a very, let me move this. They want, well, I don't know if they do anymore. I even think red snappers is harder than basting a quilt back. I think the red snappers, I have to get used to it. Your hands have to get used to the pressure of, and I think I love this system. It literally comes off in 5 seconds. I'm not putting pressure on my arms and putting down. And I'm not saying some of you love red snappers. If you love your red snappers, you go you. I don't like the red snappers. I feel like, but I think they say you're supposed to warm them up. The lady who created them was trying to find an easier way to remove or add, well, easier way to remove or add the back fabric to a quilt tops or quilting machine so that she could move on to the next. So look, it's 5:32. Look how fast I could transition from this quilt to the next quilt. I'm gonna put it on the floor real quick. I already have the quilting, the quilt back, or I already have the fabric on a leader. And that's what, it doesn't matter if your machine is fast. If your transition from one quilt to the next is not streamlined, meaning if you don't have a lot of bobbins to wind, so you can wind different, I literally can wind, I buy 100 bobbins I'm going to buy another 100 more. I think I bought in 300 bobbins so that I have the ability to wind as many bobbins as I can. Because sometimes I'll have 10 quilts that I'm preparing to work on the long arm. Let's see. So another thing, if you're going to do this as a business, you make yourself more leaders than you were given. I have a video on, I have a video on how to make leaders. And I recommend you get if you don't have a zipper on your leader, I recommend you go to Linda's Electric Quilting and buy their zippers and put a zipper on your machine. And then you can make yourself, this is annoying. You can make yourself your own leaders. And the reason you do that is because you want to be able to prepare more quilts. And so I have made myself these leaders. When I got my machine, they only gave me enough leaders for 2 quilts to get ready. I ended up making myself a whole bunch of them. So I could literally prepare about 10 quilts. So in 2 minutes, I put a back fabric on the machine. And let me see. So a lot of this is preparing ahead of time. I already have the batting cut, and I already have in my section here the quilt that I'm going to quilt ready. So here's my back fabric. Hold on, let me move you here. Move you here. I never leave the room without a quilt on it. So today I'm going to leave and do my own thing, take a chill, go to Sonic, write all your names down in a list, take a break, go back and laser what I was lasering because I'm already invested in that. So here's this 235. We started at 230, 532. Okay. Then I'm gonna show you your quilt in a minute, but I want to have this quilt ready. I don't have to sew it down to get it ready. I just have to have it on the long arm. It will take me probably another 5 minutes. Well, you saw how long it took me to get a quilt ready when I started the live stream. But having this part already done, well, you literally also saw me putting batting. Let me see if you can see. Look at her. So what I'll do, just real quick, and you're seeing me like real time. I'll roll it down for a second. I'm going to lock it down because I'm going to show you your quilt. Come on. All right, am I giving you my back? Yes, I am, huh? Look how beautiful this quilt. This is one of her quilts too. This is another one. But remember when I was doing the live stream yesterday, I was showing you all the back fabrics. Well, because I got a lot of the back fabrics ready. Sorry. Then while I do that, I'm also going to pull the back fabric as taut as I can and create that tension that I was talking about with y'all. I'm going to pull and I'm going to lock this quilt. Hopefully I'm not in front of you. Am I in front of you? Yeah, kind of. Oh, come on. Why is it doing that? And then this quilt is kind of crooked. You already see that it's not. And then, wow, that's crazy what the machine's doing. Okay. Leading it down. And so what, it was 5:32. I'm ready to literally start working on the next quilt in less than what, it's 5:38. And then, so this quilt is ready to go. There's some things I have to manage with this quilt. As you can see, she is warped a little bit, a lot. She has some problems, but we could, because look how beautiful, I just straightened her out. I want you to see this. Just tugging. Sorry, I know I'm on your personal space. So this quilt is ready to long arm. She's ready to quilt. You love red snappers? I'm glad you love them. I never use them. And because, you know, a lady was telling me a long time ago they will hurt her wrist, but I think it's personal reference, right? It's all, but people use red snappers to try to get this kind of stuff done quickly. I just find that they were expensive at the time. Well, I was really broke when they came out, and I didn't have $80 or $120 to spend on them, when all I had to do is use my sewing machine and baste them. So it just depends, right? So hold on, let me put your quilt up here. And let me move you back. So no, if you love them, you love them. I'm good with that. Yeah. Sometimes it's how it's made, how it's sewn. But the neat thing is that it's a, look at her. Look at how beautiful she is. She's beautiful. She's lovely. All right, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna look at your names, and I'm gonna let you look at the eye candy. I don't know why the channel locks kept coming on. I said yes. No. All right. What do y'all think, guys? Hopefully, y'all can see how beautiful she is. I think I have everybody's name down. I really do love you, and I thank you for being here with me. We're going to end the live. If you want to make a comment after this, when it's gone on YouTube, you'll put your name down again. I love you.